The catacombs of El-Shukafa, which date from the 2nd century AD, are unique both for their plan and for their decoration, which is a mixture of Egyptian and Greco-Roman elements. Excavations in the site started in 1892, but the catacombs were not found until 1900, when by mere chance the falling of a donkey drawing a cart in a pit led to their discovery. The tomb consists of 3 stories cut in the rock, but the lower one gets filled with subsoil water, and for this reason most of it has been filled with sand. A staircase goes round a lower shaft, down which the dead bodies used to be lowered by ropes. The stair ends at the first floor with a vestibule, with a semicircular niche on each side. Each niche is fitted with a bench and roofed with a shell. This leads to a rotunda, with another large shaft in the middle surrounded by a parapet, upon which stand 8 pillars supporting the domed roof. At the bottom of the shaft were found 5 stone heads, which were removed to the museum, and casts of them were made and can be seen on the parapet. To the left of the rotunda is a banquet hall or Zakaria, where relatives and friends of the dead person could meet on special occasions. Here are cut in the rock 3 large benches on which they could recline upon mattresses while eating. The tables have disappeared and were probably made of wood. From the rotunda, a staircase leads down to the 2nd story, the main part of the tomb, which consists of a vestibule and a burial chamber. The vestibule has 2 fine columns with floral capitals and 2 pilasters with capitals of papyrus and acanatus intermingled. The 4 support a cornice adorned with a winged tall desk between 2 falcons and with a kind of frieze. Above the cornice is seen a low arched pediment decorated in the middle with the solar disk. On both sides of the vestibule, 2 niches in the shape of Egyptian doorways are hewn in the rock with 2 statues, one of a woman to the left and the other one of a man to the right. They are represented standing with one foot in advance to the other and with both hands stretched down on the sides. The woman is clad in a long tight dress which covers the body to just above the feet, while the man wears a kilt. The hair dress of both of them is typical Roman-like those which date from the 2nd century AD. In the middle of the wall at the back of the vestibule is a door surmounted by a cornice decorated with a winged sun desk and a frieze of cobras. To the right and left of this door, on 2 pedestals in the form of an Egyptian naos, are 2 great serpents carved in relief, wearing the double crown of Upper and Lower Egypt. Each of the 2 serpents has on one side the pine cone, symbol of Dionysus, and on the other the serpent wand, symbol of Hermes. This serpent seems to represent not only a god of diamonds, but also the serpent sacred to the Egyptian gods of the dead, Osiris and Isis, and to Hermes. The guide of the dead is the other world according to the Greek mythology. Above the head of each of these 2 serpents is a head of Medusa on a round shield, intended no doubt to frighten and keep the robbers away from the tomb. The burial chamber contains 3 large recesses on 3 sides. In each of them, a sarcophagus is cut in the rock complete with its lid. They closely resemble each other and are decorated with festoons of flowers, masks, and bull's heads. The lids are not separate and the bodies were entered from openings in the passage behind. The back wall of the central sarcophagus shows a typical Egyptian scene of mummification. In the middle on a fiery bed lies the mummy, while the jackal-headed Anubis, god of mummification, stands behind the bed with his right hand on the mummy, while the left carries a vase. Underneath the bed are three canopic drawers, intended to contain the viscera of the deceased. One has a cover in the shape of a falcon's head, the second a human head, and the third an apis head. At the head of the bed, which takes the shape of a lion's head, stands the ibis-headed Tahut, god of wisdom. He holds in his right hand a vase, and in the left a scepter. At the foot of the bed stands the falcon-headed god Horus, who holds in his right hand a scepter, and in the left hand a vase. The reliefs on the sides represent to the right a woman standing with a sun disk on her head, sign of deification, uplifting both her hands in the gesture of adoration in front of a priest with two feathers on his head. He offers her a lotus hod and a cup with an ewer. Between the two is an altar decorated with lotus flowers. The scene to the left represents a man standing, holding something in his right hand and uplifting his left hand in adoration. In front of him stands a selected priest holding a roll of papyrus in both hands. Between the two is an altar decorated with lotus flowers. On the back wall of the niche to the right, we see the king standing, wearing the double crown of Upper and Lower Egypt, and holding a necklace in both hands, which he offers to the sacred bull, represented as standing on a pedestal with a goddess behind, probably Isis protecting the bull with her two outstretched wings. The right side represents a mummy standing with a sun disk on its head and holding a long staff with both hands. In front of it stands the jackal-headed god with a sun disk on its head and holding a long staff with both hands. Between the two is an altar with a vase on it, and on the other side to the left we see the king standing, wearing a headdress with a sun disk encircled by the sacred cobra. His right arm is stretched down to his side, while he offers a feather by his left hand to the god standing in front of him. This god most probably being in the form of a mummy, and represented standing with a sun disk on his head, holding a scepter with both hands. Between the two is an altar adorned with lotus flowers. The scene on the back of the niche on the left-hand side is nearly the same as that on the right-hand side. It represents the king who offers a necklace to the sacred bull standing on a pedestal with the goddess behind protecting the bull with her outstretched wings. On the lateral side, to the right, it represented the king standing with a sun disk and the cobra on his head, holding a long staff with both hands. In front of him, the falcon-headed god Horus, standing wearing the double crown of Upper and Lower Egypt, holding a long staff with both hands. Between the two is an altar with a vase on it. On the lateral side, to the left, we see the king standing, wearing a kilt. He offers a feather with his right hand to the god standing in front of him. This god is represented in the shape of a mummy with a sun disk on its head. Between the two stands an altar adorned with flowers. On both sides of the entrance to this spiritual chamber, on the way out, we see on the right-hand side the Egyptian jackal-headed god Anubis in a military uniform. He is represented as standing with a sun disk on his head, holding a long staff with his right hand. On the other side of the entrance, the same god is represented with the lower part of a dragon. These divinities are again a mixture of Egyptian and Greco-Roman forms, which makes this tomb a unique example in its kind. Surrounding this part of the tomb are narrow passages with more than 300 locally in 2 rows for plural, of which those in Rome were for the followers of goddess Nemesis. In one of the locally, was found the mummy of a priestess of this goddess with a golden chain around her neck, adorned with the wheel of this goddess and other 10 leaves of gold which covered the eyes, the place, the tongue, the mouth, and even the nails of fingers and toes. We now return to the rotunda and enter through a branch in the rock to an entirely different set of tombs. These are led by a square trap at the bottom of which stands an altar. They could be reached directly from outside by a staircase hewn in the rock, but it's now blocked. This part is called after the Emperor Zakaria because of the bones which were found in it, and which were believed to have been the result of the massacre which happened during his visit to Alexandria. But the bones found there belong more to animals, and especially horses, than to human beings, as this part of tomb was dedicated to Nemesis, goddess of sports. It's thought that horses which won in races were honored after the death and buried here under the protection of the goddess. Thus, ladies and gentlemen, it's clear to us that the Egyptian civilization with its art and form, which has not been obscured during the Greco-Roman period, and this is what we have seen and are still seeing through the tombs which are still existing so far. The sources that are in our hands and what has been moved by the early historians, this makes us see that the blending of art between the Greek and the Egyptian civilization is obvious in the catacombs of El-Shukafa, rather than replacing the Egyptian civilization by the Greek one. The Greeks themselves and the Romans after them preferred to integrate their civilization with the Egyptian civilization, and Egypt has remained distinctive in the ancient and the modern history, and it will always be one of this.